As you know now itself, obviously, the taxi industry can be very mean. You understand that? To such an extent, obviously, my own family were like in a dispute for over my father's estate because I was my father's only son. So as being the son, I was supposed to be the carrier of the legacy. You understand? So it came to a point where I had to flee for my life because there were rumors that I was wanted dead too.
Yeah, it's a very tragic story, and I'm sorry to hear about the passing of your father. But how was you growing up, Ezola? Was your mother and father living in the same house, or you were saying it was in Rustenburg for the most part? So how was family life to you from your early ages, maybe until your teen years?
They split at a very tender age. So my pops, he get Tlhabane, get Bester, get Rustenburg, and then my mom's was Zola. So my upbringing was back and forth. Yeah, like one annum here, 1 year there, 1 year here, 1 year here. You understand? But one of my fondest memories were going to school it was an Afrikaans school. Dit was eers 'n boerskool met belangrijkste maat. So ek is 'n boer binne, net 'n bietjie buite gebrand in die Here se heilige genade. Ja, want
he comes from Benoni, so he would understand you better. Offense. He's a cheese boy from Benoni. He went to an African school as well.
Okay, yeah.
But I want you to give us the audience a window into your life at the time. So you went to an African school,
yes,
which is in a way an insinuation that there was some prosperity in your household. What kind of life were you living there? You say you were a father's only child. Be life enjani leyo when you were young?
All right. To be honest with you, my father, I would say, was a womanizer in a sense. He was he loved women. And he had many wives, first time I like. But on my mom's side, I was the only one. But on a broader scale, BC 19, all around Umzansi, you understand? To become a twinsie of across in forecast and stuff. So Marayena, I just believe naturally from at a tender age. I always had a rather broad cerebral, you understand? Naturally, you understand? Because, and at that, my father loved me for that, and he tried his best to invest in the growth of you understand, for me, like in terms of education.
Yeah, he's supportive of that.
Yeah, I understand. Yes. So even though we got split here with moms, ingakho bekanokuthi ngihlele 1 year, then angiyisi let him come ahlale nami for a year, and then one of these white schools, and then I'll go there.
Yeah. How long did you spend with your mother, if you were to estimate? Was it every few years you move away from her? What kind of life was there in that household?
Every annum. So it's a year here, a year there, a year here. Yeah.
That's not ideal for a child.
Yeah, circumstantially, I could say that, yes. It was obviously in fam has to be like, you understand, that the bondage of spouses. Yeah.
Like, from whatever you can remember, what kind of relationship did you have with
my mom's? In fact, mother. The word mother itself speaks volumes. Mama, like mothers, royal salute. Like my mom's, Inking is the father son. Hey, she fell in love with this guy, dog. Because it got heavy with substance abuse, alcohol in specific. You understand? He was jealous of me, but he tuned me 9-9, which you're not my own. You'll never be my own. You understand? So he was more a culturally based being. Which Bengiza is Bonga Sithole, my biological.
Sithole?
No, actually, it's Bonga Lesi, it's an old age, it's short.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, with the guy, he had friction, man. And funny enough, at the time, a manager, yes, Xerox, not a Bites Document Solutions. So, was one another guy, he even spoke to the superiors. Like, once that was done and established, was she a totally different character. For instance, waba heavy with alcohol. Then you would start hoying oral rubbish my way, and that's something I found as one of izinto, like your experiences as a being, which oral outsurpasses any physical form of it takes deeper into, you understand. So I believe those are some of the things that contributed to me being a street dweller. Should even about the cherry on top, what happened to my biological dad was
Did your mother have any other children with your stepfather?
As time progressed, they did.
And were you living with them at the time that there were those children were born?
Yes.
How was the situation when they were born?
Hey, it was always, he came drunk and, be all physically and orally. He was too physical. But the oral part of things, things that came out of verbally were too suppressive to me. And imagine the saddest part where these young offspring and pedigree abasakhulayo witnessing, because as you know, the young reflective,
impressionable,
from their elders as to in any domestic establishment. So I felt more for them, these altercations between stepfather and
how severe were those confrontations from what you can remember? Was it every week when he comes back from work drunk, your mother plus you guys? Can you expand a little bit more on that? What would happen?
Actually, I think it was more the jealousy side of things with my father. Because why don't you go to your father, your tycoon father? You are busy with us here. You are being a nuisance. It's like magic. We have a hog in the house. And then my mother would stand up and was like, when I'm not even entertaining you. And it was like, his mission or his core mandate was for me to leave. And then my mother was like, where does he go? Because this is my flesh and blood. If you don't love me, if you don't love him, you don't love me. So it came to a point where he would chase me. Then I would gas, like outside on rainy days or whatnot. As progressively, but like he's taller at Campus Square being a street dweller.
So you going to the street is the direct result of him chasing you out, and it's not as a result of you being a teenager who's being delinquent, it was nothing like that. He was deliberately pushing you out.
Because at the time I was still I wasn't even, I was still in school at the time.
When you observe now your mother standing up for you, was that sufficient? Was your mother, perhaps my mother, for example, could not stand up for me with my stepfathers because that was the only shelter that she would have at the time, and she would know that every time I was being, that if she stands up for me, then we don't have a place to stay automatically. So when you observe your situation, did your mother fight enough for you? Why did she do that? Or why, if you feel that she didn't do that,